and welcome to the Daily Millwall for Thursday, the 17th of April 2025. In today's Millwall news, we're going to talk about this first, and this is from EFLanalysis.com. Are they any good? Don't know. I think I've seen them once before. It's kind of a clickbaity site, but we'll get into that. So, QPR face transfer battle to keep hold of versatile star wanted by Blackburn Rovers and Millwall. EFL analysis can reveal that Queen's Park Rangers are facing a fight to keep hold of key defender Morgan Fox. QPR had a poor start to the season, but an upturn in form has ensured they will not be sucked into the Championship relegation battle. The Hoops are sat in 15th place going into the latest round of fixtures, already 8 points clear of the relegation zone. With survival all but confirmed, attention is now turning toward the next season in the upcoming transfer window. Charlie Kelman can take the Championship by storm in 25-26 as he prolific loan spell later in League One. Meanwhile, QPR could earn in excess of 10 million if one transfer goes through during the summer of 2025. And these are links to their stories, I assume. Yep. On a less positive note, however, the Yars are still yet to tie down key man Morgan Fox to a new deal. And there he is there. Millwall, Blackburn Rovers and Hull City want Morgan Fox. The 31-year-old has been a key player this term, but his future beyond June remains up in the air. Speaking to transfer expert Graham Bailey this week, we've gained an exclusive update on the situation. Okay, who is Graham Bailey? Does anyone know? He's a transfer expert apparently. And that's an exclusive update. Does he know anything? I don't know that. Is he an agent? No idea at all. EFL analysis understands that QPR face a battle to hang on to central defender Fox. The Welsh defender is out of contract this summer. We understand that he has been offered a new contract to extend his stay at Loftus Road, which dates back to 2023 when he arrived from Stoke City. 2-year deal he had. However, there is interest elsewhere and can reveal that Millwall, Blackburn and Hull City are all interested in securing a deal for the 31-year-old central defender who can also play left back. Do we know someone like that who might be leaving this summer? Murray Wallace. He could be the new Murray Wallace. And then they've got stats from this season. But I'm not going to talk about that because we'll talk about it in a minute. Whether or not Fox opts to extend his stay at Loftus Road is up in the air, but he will prove a valuable asset to whichever club he ends up at come August 2025. Blackburn are in need of fresh legs at the back, while Hull have conceded over a goal a game in the league this term, a stat they will no doubt want to put right in the next 12 months. Okay, so not much of a muchness. They spoke to Graham Bailey, whoever that is, and he said he might be leaving. Maybe he's just testing the market, trying to get a pay rise because obviously he's 31 years old. It's likely to be his last decent deal. Now, who is he? Well, he's 31 years old. He's going to be 32 in September. He qualifies for Wales, but he is not Welsh. Well, to be fair, he qualifies for Wales. He was called up to their squad, but hasn't got a full cap. He's played for the under-21s. He is from South Essex. So this is this season. 11 starts, 12 substitute appearances, 1,205 minutes, 1 goal, 3 yellow cards, 1.6 areas, 1, which is quite good. He's 6'1", by the way. It says here 185. I don't. Is that 6'1"? I don't know. His average rating is 6.44. So he's all right. If we go to defensive stuff, because obviously he is a defender, tackles per game 0.9, interceptions 0.2, this is per game, fouls 0.3 per game, drawing and offside 0.4 per game, clearances 3.3 per game. That is quite high, so he's one of those, clear the ball, kick it out, don't piss about, kick it out. He scored 1 own goal. So there you go. They have, so it looks like they have played him as a centre back this season, 6.61. He's been a substitute 12 times, which is kind of weird for a centre back. I don't know where he played as a substitute. Maybe he played on left back. Kind of weird to maybe they brought him on as an extra defender. Kind of weird. Like a lot of clubs don't change central defenders from the bench. Not a thing that gets done. Now, weirdly, they're saying his weakness is aerial duels. He's 6'1", and concentration. Strength is blocking the ball. He likes to play long balls, indirect set piece threats. He can take set pieces. He plays the ball off the ground often. And here we have some of his matches. Did I bring it up? No, this is the history. So, for fuck's sake. 1 second. Go back. Okay, so that's his history. If I click on that, we get a list of his latest matches, the matches this season, all of his matches. So, what was it, 11 starts and 12 substitute appearances? You know, it's quite varied in terms of his scoring games. He has been sub 6 quite a few times. Although, to be fair, some of them were him coming off the bench and playing a few minutes. So this one here, he got 6.41. He was only on the pitch for 9 minutes. Whereas before he was on for 13 minutes, picked up a yellow card, got a rating of 5.96. So I don't think you can really, like, you probably want to see 66 minutes above. That's so 66 minutes, he got a rating of 7.3. But then in this game, he played 90 minutes. They conceded 3 goals away at Swansea, got a rating of 5.75. So that's a genuine sub 6 score. Played 1 minute against Blackburn, got a 6. So yeah, kind of weird. He's played quite a few 90 minutes, but then he hasn't as well. So just formation changes, where they play 3 at the back and then they play 2 at the back, or kind of weird how they've been using him. Unless he got injured, I don't know. Well, yeah, because okay, yeah, that makes sense. So you've got 4th of the 2nd in this game, and then the next game is a month later. So maybe he was injured. Maybe. But other than that, doesn't seem to be much of. Obviously, first game was in October, so again, before that, was he injured? Or he just wasn't playing? I don't know. And then we go into November, December, January, February, then there's that gap. And then he's been pretty much involved ever since. So, yeah, interesting one. So if we get onto his history now, they list him as a central defender, centre and left, and he can play midfield as well. Left midfield. These are his games. It looks to be all in the Championship. He is a vastly experienced defender at this level of football. He played for Charlton in this division, but way back when they were in this division, a number of times. Then Sheffield Wednesday in this division, Stoke City in this division, QPR in this division. Now, interestingly, at Stoke City in the season 22-23, when he started 35 times, was a sub 5 times, played 3,270 minutes, which is his second most played season. So in this season here with Charlton, he played more times and more minutes, but in this season he still played a hell of a lot. Do you know who his manager was? Do you? Oh, well, I'm going to tell you. It was Alex Neil. Alex Neil was his manager. Obviously, that was, 3 years ago? Coming up to 4 years ago. But, played quite well. 6.86. But since then, kind of dropped off since he's been to QPR. Now, obviously, QPR, are they all that? Don't know. So, is this him getting old, or is this... Now, this isn't 3 seasons, this is 2, because this website, for some reason, lists the Football League Cup on a separate line. So this is 2 seasons, so he's dropped down to an average rating of 6.47 last season, and this season 6.44. So is he going to come in and be the main man at left back or centre back? Probably not. But if we were to, obviously some players are out of contract this season, if we were to lose Wes Harding and Murray Wallace and Sean Hutchinson, and we bring this guy in who's got the experience, probably might be happy to be a squad member and to play here and there, and to be happy to be cover as a centre back and cover as a left back, and maybe even 6'1". They say his aerial duels are not good, but maybe he can come off the bench and be an emergency striker if we're chasing games at the end of the game. A target man. Then if he's happy with that, I'm happy for him. It seems to be pretty decent. A decent player. If that's the case, if we get rid of the 3 defenders and bring him in, that's literally you're cutting three lots of wages, and then you're bringing this guy in, especially if he's on a free transfer. I wouldn't be this. Seems to be good business to me. And if we go to his Wikipedia page, you can see he kind of looks a bit like Ryan Leonard, sort of. And he's even though he's listed as Welsh, he's not from Wales. He wasn't born there, wasn't brought up there. So I don't know. Obviously, there's some kind of family connection with Wales. Morgan is a Welsh name. Fox, I'm not sure if that's a typical Welsh name. He's born in Chelmsford. Grew up in Southwood and Ferriers, which is near Southend-on-Sea, if you didn't know. And he attended Southend High School for boys. Started his youth career was at Ipswich Town and then Charlton. Broke through at Charlton as a professional. So he's not a stranger to South East London. So there. And there you go. Now, what international caps at Welsh under-21 level, but he has been called up for the Welsh squad, but didn't make a game, didn't play the game, was in the squads for some, which is, how's that? Like, you get called up and they don't even play him because they were qualifying games. He didn't even play in the, they didn't even put him in a friendly. It says here, obviously, the Wikipedia, so it may or may not be true, but he said he was named in the Wales senior squad for the Euro 2016 qualifying matches against Cyprus and Israel, and in March 2023 was called up for the Euro 2024 qualifying matches against Croatia and Latvia, but didn't play. And they only called him up for these games. They didn't call him up. I don't know if they did or didn't, but they didn't call him up for a friendly and just actually play him, or I don't know, kind of weird. You would imagine, like, if they called him up once and then they see him in training and they think, oh no, maybe he's not all that, but then they called him up a second time, literally like a few years later. It don't make no sense. But 31 years old now, yeah, you would imagine that boat's sailed. And if you look here, I mean, this, like, Wikipedia, they do say, which the other site didn't say, that he's actually played some games in League One for Charlton. So he got relegated with Charlton, and then stayed the season after, or maybe half a season, and then he moved on. Was at Notts County on loan before then. I don't know why it's listed here. It should be listed higher. Moved to Sheffield Wednesday. He left Charlton when they were in League One, went to the Championship. So I don't know. So obviously we know Alex Neil managed him in this season, but we don't know, was Steve Gallen at Charlton when he was at Charlton? I don't know. So maybe they all know each other, which is another good sign that if they know someone and they want to bring him in, it's like okay, then that means he's got something about him. And again, if he's replacing Murray Wallace, Wes Harding, and Sean Hutchinson, because he can play at left back and centre back, and obviously we've got other players coming through like Danny Mack, and others, Malachi, left back, whatever. Not a bad bit of business if he's happy to be a squad player. So why not? But we wait to see. We do wait to see. But I wouldn't be upset if he signed. Let's put it that way. Now, let's get into this scary looking man, Alex Neil. This is from londonnewsonline.co.uk, the South London Press. Millwall boss pays no attention to social media and wants his players to do the same as they chase championship playoff place. Yes. Millwall head coach Alex Neil is urging his players to shun social media platforms as they bid to crank up their championship playoff credentials. The Lions head to Blackburn Rovers tomorrow afternoon, just 3 points adrift of the top 6, and with 4 victories in their last 5 matches. No championship club has won as many matches as Millwall, 9, since the former Preston, Norwich and Sunderland boss Neil was appointed as Neil Harris's successor at the end of December. The Scot has been receiving plenty of praise on social media, but has made it clear that he has no access to it. More to the point, he actively avoids it. Well, good for him. Neil told the South London Press, "I know how football works. If you win games, everybody thinks you're a second coming. If you don't win games, then people don't want to like you. And that's just the nature of how things are on that type of platform. I dissuade the players from getting involved in those type of things, though, because I don't think it helps. If you were to tell me after Friday that we've lost to Blackburn, I'll have a rough idea of what's going to be said, And if we win the game, I'll have a rough idea too. It's not necessarily for me to look. Why would I care? And if I'm being brutally honest, you don't know any of these people who are writing stuff. I'm not interested. Exactly. All these people, they're a load of weirdos. All these people on Facebook, on X, on YouTube, all these people doing these channels, they're all weirdos. Camille Negley's first goal since a club record move from Sparta Rotterdam in January sealed a victory over Middlesbrough on Saturday, but the attacker 23 suffered a hamstring injury which is set to see him miss the remainder of the season. Asked about the statistic of Mill leading way for the championship victory since Neil took charge, the Scot replied, "Until you mentioned it, I wasn't aware of it, but it's not something I think about. At the end of the day, you can win games and momentum is good, and when things are going well, that's a good feeling. I've been in the game long enough where you can lose the next 3 games and all of a sudden the momentum swings. I don't think about it, I just think about beating Blackburn, so we're in a better position." Mill could welcome back Reece Bangor Williams, Aaron Connolly and Chelsea loanee Zach Sturge for the fixture at Ewood Park. Former Tottenham centre-back Japhet Tanganga has missed the past 2 matches due to a broken bone in his hand. "Our Jaff's return will be determined by the surgeon," said Neil. "We're going to have a look at getting a splint on it. Yeah, he won't make the Blackburn, I don't believe, but he may be in contention for Norwich. Depending on what the surgeon says and how comfortable Jaff is at keeping that area protected. Millwall are likely to need to win all of their remaining matches to stand any chance of the playoffs, but they have not managed to get 3 points at Blackburn since March 2013. Which you think, well, that's not that long ago. It's 12 years ago. When Danny Shittu scored in an FA Cup tie. That's what he does. Rovers took 4 points off the South Londoners last season, and it is impossible to forget the crushing 4-3 loss on the final day of the 22-23 campaign after the Lions led 3-1 at half-time, which prevented them finishing in the top 6. "I don't think anybody will be underestimating Blackburn after what happened before," said Neil. "Every game in this league is difficult. It doesn't matter who or where you play. Everybody's fighting for different things. Blackburn might look at it and think there's nothing at stake. That's a game where they can express themselves and show what they can do. That sometimes frees teams up and they perform better. I'm sure they'll be trying to end the season well. And it's going to be a tough match, but they all are. Neil admitted after the victory at the weekend that Mill's need for maximum points from matches had seen him risk The likes of Negli and Femi Aziz is back in the squad after being sidelined with injuries. Negli had been missing since the start of the match with an ankle injury sustained in the FA Cup tie against against Crystal Palace. Oh, I'm hopeful he'll be back for pre-season. With any injury and when you're coming back from it, it will be determined by the process of coming back, the rehab and how that goes. Making sure there's no setback in that. We're frustrated we haven't had Camille back, Camille available. We sold the ROM, and we've been missing Camille for a large part of that. For how well the team has done, for how many players we have had missing, and for how long they've been missing, it speaks volumes of how well the squad has done individually and collectively. That Negli's goal is what we're bringing in, that technical quality in the final third that can create and score goals. With those types of players, it doesn't mean they're going to beat 3 players every time they get the ball, but what it means is that there'll be a moment in the game, and they've got the level of quality and that composure where they can calm themselves and tuck it away. And ultimately, that was the deciding factor for us at the weekend. Indeed. Here we go. This may be the same thing. I haven't read this yet. I don't read these, by the way, before I bring them to you. I just read the headlines because, what more do you need? This is from summitnews.co.uk. I'm not thinking about anything else. Alex Neil's focus on Millwall and not on the results of playoff rivals. It might be different then. Yeah, it's different. Alex Neil said his focus was on Millwall and not on the results of the playoff rivals as the Lions mount an unexpected late push for the top 6. Millwall have been in red-hot form during the business end of the season, winning 4 of their last 5 matches, while many of their playoff rivals have slumped. 7th place West Bromwich Albion have won 1 game in their last 5, while 6th place Coventry City conceded a late equaliser to draw 1-1 with 20th placed Hull City on Monday night, a result that means the Lions are just 3 points behind the Sky Blues. However, Neil was not following the game. I didn't watch the game. The fact is for us, there's nothing we can do about that game. That game will take care of itself, and whoever gets the points will get the points. So from our perspective, it's nice to be closer than it would have been if we were further, but we're still chasing. We've still got a lot of work to do, and we still got important games coming up. And I think now we just need to put all of our attention and try and win the game against Blackburn on Friday. When asked if he thought the pressure was on Mill's rivals for the playoffs, Neil said, I don't think about it. I don't worry about Coventry. I don't worry about West Brom. I don't worry about Middlesbrough. All I think about is how many games can we try and win between now and the end of the season, because that's all that I can affect. I'm not one of them ones that sit scrolling the table every 2 minutes, hope it's going to change where the game's already finished, and it's not going to change. We just focus on what we can affect and what we can try and do. And we've got a really big game coming up on Friday, and that's the only thing I'm thinking about. And I'm not thinking about anybody else. If we win, we'll know that we'll put ourselves in a stronger position, and if we don't win, then we don't, then we won't. So it's really sort of cut and dry and straightforward. Indeed. Win, and we are still in. Lose, and we are out. Fact. Now, mentioned this briefly the other day. Didn't really understand what it was. We've got a bit more information from Richard Corley of the LondonNewsOnline.co.uk South London Press. Tristan Crama looking at a defensive linchpin for Millwall as he makes the French team, including Real Madrid, Juventus and AC Milan stars. It's not every day that you see a Millwall player named in the same team as one containing players from Real Madrid, Juventus and AC Milan, but it also underlines just how dominant and impressive Tristan Crama was in Saturday's 1-0 victory over Middlesbrough. The 23-year-old centre-back was selected by highly respected sports paper L'Equipe in their weekly team of French players plying their trade in other areas of Europe. So that's what it was. It was the team of the week of French nationals or French players playing in other parts of Europe. That's what it was. Crama, signed from Brentford in the summer, was part of their backline, also containing Juventus's Pierre Kalulu and AC Milan's Theo Hernandez, with midfielder Eduardo Camavinga, a La Liga star, also making the cut. It's probably a bit of an understatement to say that things have gone well since his January 17th transfer from Brentford to SC16. Crama initially slotted in seamlessly at right back, covering the injury absence of Ryan Leonard and Danny McNamara, and in the last two matches, clean sheet victories over Sheffield United and Middlesbrough, he switched to an unruffled central role with Jafet Tanganga sidelined due to a broken bone in his hand. "Oh, I'm enjoying it so far," said Crama, who started on the books of hometown club Beziers before joining Brentford's B team in 2020. "Or when you are enjoying what you do, you play well. I've been in very good form since I signed, so I get a lot of confidence. When you play with confidence, you play better, and whether it's at the right back or centre back, I've been next to great players, so it's been easy for me to adapt to this team. It's good to be in the L'Equipe team. It means I did a great job on Saturday. In France, it's a really big newspaper that covers all the sport around France, and it's massive to be in. I woke up in the morning and someone sent it to me, and then someone else, and then my family put it on social media, which I follow, even though Alex Neil told me to not to do this, but I follow it. Crama's previous senior football experience prior to the Lions had been in League One. He made 34 appearances on loan at Bristol Rovers in the 23-24 season, and then made the temporary move to Exeter City at the start of this campaign, one of his 4 goals coming in a 1-0 win against Charlton in November. His stable aggressions were cut short after Mill had a bid accepted. Lions head coach Alex Neil told our paper that Crama's early action at right back helped to acclimatise him to championship level, adding he did the same at Preston with Sepp van der Berg, who moved from Liverpool to Brentford for £25 million last summer. Asked about the Scots' verdict, Crama said, as a centre-back, you are the last man on the pitch before the keeper, so you cannot lose a 1v1, miss a touch or miss a pass, which leads to a goal or a big chance. As a right back, you don't have the same pressure because, you still have the players behind you, but it takes a bit of pressure off. I have played the centre-back a lot as well, and so I have the confidence of playing there. It's my main position. Playing a right back, definitely helped me to adapt to the championship. I know what I'm capable of, so I'm just trying to stay switched on for the whole game. Jaf is a really good player, so I think he's a really good compliment. If people are saying that we didn't miss him much for the past 2 games, everything is a bit quicker in the championship compared to the League 1. The players are quicker and stronger, but you're playing with quicker and better players, and it's just about adapting yourself as quickly as possible. Crama never managed a first-team match at Brentford, but was part of their side which won the Premier League Cup and London Senior Cup. He's remained in touch with compatriots Brian Mboumbe and Johan Wissa. I was really close with them. I still am. They help me and the staff. It's massive to train with them. You have to be focused and give 100% every session. If you play against Ivan and you can't give him 1 yard because he will score. And it's the same, for me, for Brian and Wissa. If you make one mistake, they are going past you. The B team staff are also massive for my development. They push me every day for 3 seasons. Crama grew up as a Marseille fan. Dimitri Payet was his idol as a kid. I'm from the south, so everyone from the south supports Marseille, said Crama, who initially played as a striker before gradually shifting further back, also having spells as a number 10 and holding midfielder before settling into his current position. I have been to the Velodrome a number of times when I was younger. I wasn't a centre-back when I was younger. I was an offensive player. So, for me, Payet was a massive part of Marseille. Crama's target, unsurprisingly, is to play in the Premier League, which Payet lit up when he was at West Ham United. Mill will have a chance of making that a reality next season. Due to their results since Neil came in, winning 6 and drawing 1 of their last 10 games, the Lions must beat Blackburn Rovers tomorrow and Norwich on Monday to keep the prospect alive of a playoff finish. We will take it game by game and see where we go, said Crama. We have 4 games left and are 3 points away from the playoffs, so, we are in the race. It's slightly out of our control, because of the teams above us, and the one thing that we can do is keep winning and putting pressure on those teams above us. Anything can happen, we are in good form and we can't think about Swansea, Norwich or Burnley. Our focus is on Blackburn away now, and it will be like a final. The game after will be like a final. Every game is just massive now. Indeed. Can you imagine? It probably won't. It won't happen if we win the championship, But if Crama gets called up to the French squad, while at Millwall, have we ever had a French international before? I don't think we have we? That would be quite the sensation. Ooh, man, incredible. But if we do get promoted, or if he does leave for the Premier League, he's almost certainly bound for that kind of trajectory, in the French national team. Why not? Now, moving on to this. southernnews.co.uk. Lenny, it's lovely to be back playing for Millwall, and gives his verdicts on Tristan Crama's performances at right back. Ryan Leonard is pleased to be back playing football after missing 8 weeks with a calf injury. Leonard had been one of the first names on the team sheet at right back until he limped off in the 58th minute of Millwall's 2-2 draw with Cardiff City on January the 21st with what the club describes as a significant calf injury. The 32-year-old returned to training during the March international break and made his first appearance since the injury on March the 29th, coming off the bench in the 78th minute of Millwall's 1-0 loss to Sunderland. Leonard has since made another substitute appearance and started 2 games, both of which were Millwall wins. Nice. Oh, what a coincidence. Strange, that. Oh, it's lovely to be back, Leonard told News It Then. It was a long 8 weeks, all in all. It was one where it was just nice to get it ticked off, get the first game. It was nice to come on for the Sunderland game, and then obviously, unfortunately, Jaff did his hand, and then I've had a little run of games since then, so it's just nice to be back. It was strange not missing a game all season and then getting quite a bad injury and missing games from there. But it was just one of those things, I always say it happens in football. If you're going to play, you're going to get injured. Those things are going to happen. It's just part and parcel of the game, and it's just nice to move on from it now. When I got injured, it was only the Gaffer's probably first 3 or 4 games, and I was still around. I was trying to get to as many games as possible and trying to listen into like the pre-match talks and half-time conversations and things. I was still probably getting quite a lot of information that the manager wanted. I think that's quite an important thing when you're injured, to still be around and listening to the tactical side of it and what the manager wants. And I tried to do that as much as possible. So then, when I got back into the team or when I got back fit, I kind of already knew how the manager wanted the team to play and how he wanted me to play in the position. I've tried to stick to that professionalism part of it. Even when you're injured, you're always listening, you're always around the group. And I think that's quite important for injured players or players that are not playing. It's something that I try to strive for and stay amongst the group as much as possible. When you're injured and you're not cast aside, but you're a little bit out of the way, you're obviously not playing, so you're not around the lads as much. And I try to stay around the lads and keep that part of it going. To go from where we were when I got injured to coming back, it's that chalk and cheese, to be honest. We're obviously pushing for other parts in the table, and we managed to put 3 wins in a row since I've come back, and it's been really enjoyable first 10 days being back. 5 minutes after Leonard came off against Cardiff, his replacement Danny McNamara suffered a serious knee injury and had to be replaced by January signing Tristan Crama. Crama, 23, is a centre-back by trade, but was asked to play at right-back, a position he had limited experience with for an extended period of time. When asked if he gave the Frenchman advice on how to play position, Leonard said, to be fair, after watching him, I think he should be giving me advice, to be honest. I thought he was excellent. He did really well for someone that's never played there before. It's a position that's not too different from his normal position, but in terms of defensively, it's a little bit different. You're coming up against wingers, and there's more 1-versus-1 oriented players. So on the ball and off the ball, I thought he did excellent. Obviously we won quite a few games, and I think it was his first game he got man of the match at Luton. So he went from there, and he went from strength to strength. He's a great lad, and I was really pleased that he did well in that position. He got forward well, and a lot of times you can see the centre-back playing right back, and then they probably don't really get forward too often. They kind of just stay back on the pitch, but to compare to Tristan, he got forward well, got a few assists, and obviously the Watford one was a big one, going 1-0 down, then come back to win the game, and he put a great ball in for Josh to score. And I was really pleased for him, He's a really nice lad, and it's nice to see people doing well. Even though it's kind of in my position, it's still nice as a team and as a group, and we want to see each other do well. We're friends, as well as teammates, so it's nice to see people performing well, even if it is in your position. Ryan Leonard, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Now, this... Obviously, it's Easter, and there's an Easter sale in the Lionstore. In terms of they've just reduced the prices of things. Not that they're selling Easter eggs or bunnies, chocolate bunnies, or things like that. They are enjoy up to 65% off in the Lionstore this Easter with items such as replica kits and polo shirts, training wear, and more on offer. Shop via the link below or above, whatever. So it's the normal link. Basically, it's the kit. It's the kits that are probably going to be changed at the end of the season. Again, we're going to have 3 new whole kits, as you do. So they're trying to get rid of the stocks. So, basically, if you're small, medium, or large, you've got your pick. You can take your pick. But if you're XL or above, you have nothing to buy. There's nothing there. That is of extra sizes, and XL isn't even that big, to be honest. So, there you go. Now, we got to talk about the game tomorrow. There's a game tomorrow. It's Good Friday, yep. It's Friday tomorrow, yeah, but it's Good Friday, which means there's going to be a Millwall game. That's how it works. Yeah, it's away at Blackburn. There's 965 Millwall fans going, I think. So not a lot. It's going to be on Mill TV. You can watch it because it's not on the Saturday at 3 o'clock. It's on the Friday at 3 o'clock. Even though it's on Friday, it is not a night game. It is not a night game. It is a 3 o'clock kickoff. So don't miss it. You can also watch it on Sky Sports Plus. I think if you're in America, it's on Paramount Plus. And if you are around the world, it may be available on Bet365. If you have money in your account or you bet a small amount on the game. Okay? But, here we go. So, I haven't brought this up before, but this is from bbc.co.uk. It's the preview page of the game. And they do this thing, obviously, you got the stats and all that stuff, the form and whatnot. But what I wanted to show, is that? Okay. What I wanted to show you is the match facts at the bottom, because when I heard these on that Millwall podcast, when I was involved in the chat earlier today, while I was watching it, I think they brought some of these up, and it kind of shocked me to some extent. This one didn't shock me. The first one, like Ewood Park, I think Blackburn Rovers has to be. It's not that it's a bogey ground or a bogey team. It's just a really bad place for us to go and get a result. We don't really do that. We lose a lot of games there, and we'll get into that into a minute when we go to the 11v11.com. But obviously, the first one, Blackburn Rovers has lost none of their last 8 league games against Millwall at Ewood Park. So in 8 games, we have not won there. And that's since 2012. Now, Millwall are looking for their first league double over Blackburn since the 1970-71 campaign. So we've already beaten them once this season. To beat them again, that will be the first time in 60 years? 55 years? That is insane. Now, I had a look at that season. We were in Division 2. We finished 8th, and Blackburn were one of the 2 teams that got relegated. Yeah, 2 teams getting relegated. Now, this one, how did they know? How did they know? Obviously, there's no author here. I don't know how they know this. No team in Football League history has lost more games on Good Friday than Blackburn Rovers. 32, level with Notts County. So obviously, I don't know how have there been football games on Good Friday going back, or is this like a new thing? Like, would they have played? Obviously, they played on Christmas Day, would they have played on Good Friday? I don't know. Back in the day, because obviously Blackburn Rovers were they from 1875 or something, 1880 or something like that. So a hell of a lot of times they may have played on Good Friday, but then they've lost more games on Good Friday than anyone. Now, is that what is the next one be like? Is it like 31 and 30? Like, you know what I mean? Is it how much of a standout is that? I don't know. Now, here's the thing as well. Talking about Good Friday, Mill haven't lost any of their last 10 league games played on a Good Friday. So the last 10 games on Good Friday, we have not lost. And that was since 2009. Obviously, I guess there were some years where we didn't play on Good Friday for some reason. I don't know. Because obviously 2009 plus 10 doesn't equal 2025. So that is so again, but here's the thing. So you have the worst team on Good Friday against a team that does quite well on Good Friday. So what's going to happen there then? A draw? I don't know. Mill haven't lost any of their last 10 league games played on a Good Friday. We've won 5, drawn 5, and that was since a 2-0 defeat to Yeovil Town back in April 2009. Wow. Now here's the thing. So the last 10 championship games, no side has picked up fewer points than Blackburn. So they are the worst team over the last 10 games in the championship. While Millwall have picked up the joint second most with 19. So obviously the form, they normally do it over 6 games. But over the last 10 games, they are bottom of that 10-game table, and we are second. What? How? What the hell is that? Man, that's insane. So yeah, I saw these match facts and I thought, that's very weird. So let's get into it. 11v11.com. The trek up to Blackburn Rovers. This is the historical record, which is a sea of red, defeat after defeat after defeat after defeat. We've won 5 games, as you mentioned before, about 5 and 5, about our Good Friday record. We've won 5 games, and we've drawn 5 games out of 24 trips to Blackburn Rovers. Yes. Not only that, but we haven't kept that many clean sheets. Well, I mean, I guess because, in order to keep a clean sheet, if you do keep a clean sheet, you're going to draw or win the game. So what comes first, the chicken or the egg? I don't think that's correlated, but... So the first win was in 1968, and then in 1971. 2 draws in 1979 in April and August, different seasons. 2-1 win in 1986. A 2-0 win in 2012. The famous win in 2013 in the FA Cup that got us to the FA Cup semi-final. So I believe this was the quarter-final. And that was the last time we won there. And since then, we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trips to Blackburn Rovers. Not a 1 win. A 0-0, I think, was this the 0-0 where we didn't even have a shot, let alone a shot on target, under Gary Rowett, and that's when the fans got a bit testy with him, the first time, and the second time, obviously, that's when he threw his toys out of the pram and quit. But I believe this was the game, March 2022, because I think were we going on a run then to the playoffs? I don't know, but... Yeah, there's some really bad games up there, isn't there? Or bad Millwall performances. You think, well, why is this? What is going on here? Is it the dimensions of the pitch? Is it the dark satanic mills of Blackburn Rovers and the legacy that they bring? I've never been to Blackburn. I've never been, David. I've never been. But I don't think it's had the same gentrification of other places up in the north, such as... Manchester, or Leeds to some extent, Sheffield and Nottingham with their trams and whatnot, and their high-rise towers and stuff. I think Blackburn Rovers kind of been left out of all of that, and I don't think it's a good place to go. It's a bit of a dump, I think. I'm led to believe. Slightly less of a dump than Burnley to some extent. But you know, is that why we don't do well up there? I don't know, but you know, or is it the dimensions of the pitch? It looks on television, it looks like a big pitch. Again, I've not been up there, but we'll have to make the pitch a bit smaller if we're going to try and win the game. Then, again, now here's the thing. It seems like a uphill task when you're looking at this, but this is the historical record. But right here, right now, do I think Millwall could win this game tomorrow under Alex Neil? Almost certainly. Under the way that the players are playing right now, it's not beyond the realms. Even though you're looking at this and it looks really dire, man, if we win, I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be absolutely over the moon. I wouldn't be surprised at all. So let's move on to this. This is from WhoScored.com. Head to head, as we've just seen. Last 6 games at Blackburn, 3 wins for them, 3 draws, no wins for us. Only scored 3 goals as well. We failed to score in 3 games, and we have only kept 2 clean sheets, which was the 0-0 draws that we got. Last time out was a 1-1 draw. 8 yellow cards for us, 2 for them, which is a bit stingy over 6 games, I should say. And over those 6 games, they've scored 7 goals. So it's not the, again, is the pitch too big? That is a very low amount of goals over 6 games for 2 teams. 10 goals over 6 games for 2 teams. That's pretty poor, isn't it? Yeah. If we go over to the right hand side, match facts. Mill won their last 3 matches in the Championship. We are 3.2 to win tomorrow. 3.2. That's quite high. I wouldn't be backing that. I probably did a double chance. They've been under 2.5 goals scored in 5 of Mill's last 6 games. So not a lot of goals scored. Blackburn are undefeated in their last 8 home matches against Mill in all competitions. Yeah, I just told you that, didn't I? This is Blackburn to win or draw. 1.36. Mill to win the game. 3.2. So, for all the doom and gloom, now obviously Blackburn had a really good start to the season. If you don't know what's happened to Blackburn, they had a really good start to the season. They had a decent manager. He was getting some decent results out of them. He decided, because the club apparently is a bit of a nutty situation behind the scenes, he decided, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm going to leave a club that's in the playoff places, and I am going to join Derby County, who are in the relegation zone. And he did that, and he's got them some decent results, but they are now just 4th from bottom now. So will that be a good decision on his part? Almost certainly. I mean, he's still probably getting paid the same amount of money or more, and he doesn't have to deal with the owners at Blackburn. But a rather bizarre situation. So they were doing well. They were in the playoff places. New manager comes in, or before he comes in, the results go to pot. They lose a hell of a lot of games. They've lost 18 games. But with all that, they are still 10th in the table. They are literally just behind us. And they're 4 points behind us. So, obviously, if they do win tomorrow, they're not going to go above us, but it will close the gap to us. Interesting to say that it looks pretty similar to us in that they've scored 45 goals, but they've also only conceded 45 goals. So they don't seem to be that prolific in scoring goals or that leaky in defence. So that's something to take into account. Now, of course, as we approach the game, their run of defeats, which was, I think it was like 6 or 7 defeats in a row, which is insane. Just as they're about to play us, they start to get results. They drew at home to Sheffield Wednesday 2-2, and then they beat Luton away 1-0, of course. So, they figured some things out. They started to play. They've started to get results. Just our luck. Now, if we look at the wider context of the game, we got 3 teams all on 60. We got Coventry on 63, Bristol City on 64. We need to win tomorrow. Now, if we lose, I think it's going to be over. Obviously, I think the most Millwall thing to do would be to draw, which would then prolong our misery, because if some of the other results go our way, it might mean that we're still in it with a draw, but it's going to be slimmer than an anorexic bicep. It's still going to, you know what I mean? It's going to be disappointing, but we won't be out of it, and we'll still be in with it if we win all of our last 3 games. And then you're thinking, and then that will set up the last day of the season, away trip to Burnley, because, we're home to Norwich, we're home to Swansea. We've got a likelihood of winning them games. The Norwich game is probably harder than the Swansea game. But, they're not unbeatable. So if we do draw at Blackburn, get the 1 point, go up to 61, and, it's still, like, if the other teams around us draw as well, and one of them will win, let's say West Brom win, and then Coventry draw, Bristol City draw. I think Bristol City are playing West Brom. Probably should pull it out, but I can't be bothered. So, you know what I mean? But it would be the most Millwall result if we drew the game tomorrow, and that would, but we weren't, but the other results still kind of went our way. And then that would mean the Norwich game doubles up on Bank Holiday Monday. It's like, this is it. If we don't win this, it's going to be, you know what I mean? So, yeah. So if we go back, so how good are they at home this season? Okay, so if you're a Millwall fan, you got season ticket, you've been to the home games this season. You know how we've been playing at home? Them too. That's how good Blackburn have been at home, the exact same as us. They won 10, drawn 4, lost 7, although they have scored 28 goals and conceded 21. So they've conceded a goal a game, whilst we concede less than a goal a game. Interesting. Interesting as well that in their last 4 home games, they have not won. They have not won in their last 4 home games. And that was against Sheffield Wednesday, against Middlesbrough, against Cardiff, and against Norwich. So, away form. How are we away? Ooh, we are actually quite good away now that Alex Neil's come in. 6 wins, 8 draws, 7 defeats. Scored 18 in 21, which is a bit rough, but we've only conceded 23. But then, yeah. So, but you look at Blackburn's goals for and goals against, it's pretty similar to ours, but they've got a worse results. So it seems they're not that bad, but they just can't get the results that they need to get. Which, hopefully they don't get the result tomorrow. So there you go. If we go down here, you can see the last 6 matches for Blackburn at home and the last 6 matches away for Millwall. Last time out was a win at Sheffield United for Millwall. Before that, though, we failed to score against Sunderland, we failed to score against Leeds, and we lost both those games. We scored 2 away at Watford and 1. We conceded 3 against Premier League Crystal Palace, but did score. Obviously, that game was highly affected by the unjust sending off of Liam Roberts early on in the game. And obviously, the only clean sheets we kept there are away at Derby and away at Sheffield United. Do we need the clean sheet tomorrow to win? Maybe. Because as we mentioned, we don't score a lot of goals in this game. So if we give up the clean sheet, it's going to be a uphill task. If they concede first, can we respond with 2? Probably not. So then it's looking like a 1-1. Unless we keep the clean sheet. But as in previous seasons, 2 0-0 draws, if we try too hard to keep the clean sheet, can we still score at the other end? Because we need to win the game. We need to win the game. And that's the thing, Alex Neil. If it's 0-0 in the 60th minute, 65th minute, 70th minute, 75th minute, 80th minute, does he roll the dice and go for the jugular and try and get the 1-0 win? Does he try and do it? Because we need to win the game. Or does he come away with the 0-0? I think, a point is a point. We'll see. I don't know. Although, I have heard that fortune favours the brave, so we will see. If we look at Blackburn's results, they have conceded 2 goals, quite a lot. They've conceded 2 against Sheffield Wednesday, 2 against Middlesbrough, 2 against Cardiff, and 2 against Wolves. All that was in the FA Cup. Although I think there was a heavily rotated Wolves team in that FA Cup game. So they do concede multiple goals at home. They've only kept 1 clean sheet, and it was against Plymouth. 2-0 win. They've failed to score against Wolves. They failed to score against Middlesbrough, so they can score. They do score, but they also concede. So, again, which way do you try and score against them, or you try and keep a clean sheet against them? So here we go, strengths and weaknesses. They are very good at protecting the lead, apparently. Well, let's hope we don't give them a lead then. Okay, so let's get onto the prediction from whoscored.com as we go down. A lot of injuries for them. Good to see that. Hopefully, that will help us out. We've seen these match facts already, so I'm going to skip them. So, Blackburn responded well after going down to 10 men against a relegation threatened Luton side last weekend, defending well to close out a 1-0 victory away from home. That result was nothing short of critical for Valorant Ismail, whose tenure at Ewood Park coincided with a miserable 8-game winless streak. So, like I said, they had an 8-game winless streak, and now they've just won before they play us. Fantastic. Thank you so much. Millwall travelled to Lancashire with the wind in their sails after Camille Negley's 65th minute goal earned the Lions a 1-0 win against fellow playoff hopefuls Middlesbrough. Alex Neil's squad have emerged from mid-table obscurity to become genuine top 6 contenders, and they are targeting a 4th successive league win at Ewood Park on Good Friday. What? We've played at Ewood Park on Good Friday before. 4th successive league win. That must mean that, because we haven't won in 8 games. So that must mean... So we get Blackburn on Good Friday quite a lot then. How have we played them 4 times on Good Friday in 24 games? That's interesting. That is interesting. Does that make sense? Have we played them? Obviously, Good Friday usually comes around April, doesn't it? So there's one in April there. There's one in April there. That was a draw. March, that may have been... That wasn't Good Friday. That was a night game, wasn't it? I don't think that's true. The 21st of April. 8th of March. That's a bit early, isn't it? 29th of April. Oh, that was a home game. Maybe they mean home games as well. Have we played them at home on Good Friday? 23rd of April 2013? Yeah, that don't make sense. I don't think that's true. They just said there. But anyway, they say Blackburn 0, Millwall 1. Blackburn 0, Millwall 1. I mean, look, even if you look over here on the right hand side, both teams are pretty even there as well. Like the ratings, just... very close. Like, their top goal scorer has 8 goals, ours has 8 goals. It's assists, 6, and then 5 for Aziz, and both teams pretty similar. I mean, yeah. So let's move on to this. We're going to finish with this. This is the sportsmold.co.uk prediction, team news and lineups. Playoff hopefuls Millwall make the trip to Ewood Park to face a faltering Blackburn Rovers side in the Championship on Good Friday. No team has picked up fewer points in the Championship than Blackburn over the last 10 games, while Millwall are among one of the most informed sides in the division. I think they've seen that BBC thing. A run of 6 defeats in 7 shortly before that has all but ended Rovers' hopes of reaching the playoffs, despite being well placed for most of the campaign to be in contention. The gap between themselves and 6th place Coventry is at 7 points, and with just 4 games remaining, it looks a very tall order from this point, especially considering Blackburn still have to visit Sunderland and Sheffield United before the season is out. Prospects for this clash are not great either, given the form of Millwall, and also because no team has lost on Good Friday in the EFL more often than Blackburn. Recent form on home soil against their upcoming opponents is more positive, at least because Blackburn have not suffered defeat in any of the previous 8 meetings, with Millwall at Ewood Park winning 5 of those. Times are changing though, and after winning 1-0 in the reverse fixture at the Den just before Christmas, Millwall have the chance to complete a league double over Blackburn for the first time since the 1970-71 season. I think they copied their homework from the BBC site. Alex Hillsman start the Bank Holiday League weekend in 9th, and within touching distance of the playoffs after a superb run of form over the last 10 games. Millwall picked up 19 points in the Championship, with only Burnley taking more across that period, and it leaves the Lions just 3 points adrift of the playoffs. Camille Negley scored the winner against Middlesbrough last weekend on a bittersweet afternoon for him, as he suffered a recurrence of the injury he was only just returning from after finding the net. The victory was the third in succession for Millwall, and means their last 14 league wins have all come by 1 goal margin. Interesting. Despite losing 3 of their last 5 on the road, Mill can take some solace from the fact that they face the Championship's current top 3 and Premier League Crystal Palace in that run. So this fixture should offer them more of a chance. Indeed. We did lose. If we go back, where was it? Was it this one? So our away games: Sheffield United, top 3rd in the division; Sunderland, 4th in the division; Leeds, 1st in the division. Tough run of fixtures. So we did lose 2 of them, but man, that's a tough run of fixtures. That is a tough run of fixtures. It is also 16 years since Millwall lost a game on Good Friday, going 10 games unbeaten since a 2-0 defeat to Yeovil Town in 2009, and maintaining that run could well bolster their chances of a playoff place. Team news: Blackburn will be without Christy Montgomery after he was sent off in the win over Luton last weekend, joining a long list of players currently sidelined with injury. Ryan Edges is a man of doubt, but there will be no returns just yet for the likes of Owen Beck, Callum Britton and Hayden Carter at the back, whilst top scorer Andrus Weimann is also absent. Weimann is not the only attacker struggling with injury at present either. Augustus Cargbo, Emmanuel Dennis and Harry Leonard also on the treatment table for Blackburn. Negley's goal-scoring return was brief, and the Millman is set to miss this clash after suffering a recurrence of a recent problem last week, rejoining a lengthy injury list of their own. Femi Aziz returned last week, but Duncan Watmore is out in the attack, while defensive duo Callum Scanlon and Danny McNamara will not be available for selection, closing in on returns of Jafet Tanganga, Zach Sturge and Rahis Bangor Williams, with all 3 just missing out on the squad for the win over Borough. Now, they say, not me, them. Blackburn Rovers 1, Millwall 1. Blackburn's fortunes seem to be gradually turning in the right direction, but it is too little too late, and even a win here will not be enough to put them back in the promotion picture. Millwall are 4 points better off and will fancy their chances of fighting until the very end for a spot in the top 6, and a win here would do them wonders, but they have not won here for 12 years, and an hectic schedule could affect their chance with numerous injuries at present. Yes. Again, what team do you put out? You can't play the same 11 on Friday and on Monday. That is not happening. So do you make the changes for this game? Because this game is seen as a weaker game, even though it's an away game that we don't do very well in. And it's a team that's just behind us in 10th Although Norwich are lower down the table, but seemingly they have better players and a better team than Blackburn Rovers, which don't make no sense. So which game do you rest players for? Is it this game? Is it the other game? Do you try and get away with it? Do you try and get away with the draw? I don't know. Obviously, you've got 5 substitutions. You need to use them wisely. It would not... Here's the thing. It would not surprise me if we won this game. But, like I said, I think the most Millwall result would be the 1-1, with other results going our way to some extent. Maybe 1 or 2 don't. So that we just... Our slim chances get slimmer, but they still exist, which then just doubles it on for the next game. Double it and pass it to the next game. And then that means that Norwich game on Monday, which is probably going to be a sellout, that's going to be a good game. It's going to be, the atmosphere is going to be insane unless we lose. If we lose and none of the results go our way, I think we're out of it. So even with a point, so I'm going to go Blackburn 1, Millwall 1 as well. That's going to be my prediction. And on that note, thank you for watching and goodbye.